Nearly all of the energy that we use in our industrial civilization here on Earth ultimately comes from the sun and its fusing of hydrogen and releasing of huge amounts of heat, light, and radiation, which you may call more familiarly as sunlight. Some of it we make use of directly, such as with solar power shown here. We're more likely to make use of old solar energy, in the form of fossil fuels like coal derived from the remains of ancient forests and swamps. Natural gas, while cleaner burning certainly, forms in much the same way, accumulating in impermeable mineral deposits often found in unusual locations. Fossil fuels are very convenient. They're easy to collect, easy to refine, and easy to store in natural gas farms such as this one. To get at the energy in those fossil fuels, however, we have to burn them, and that burning releases smoke, ash, and carbon dioxide. Some say that there is no other option. We must burn coal or oil or natural gas, fighting wars and engaging in other forms of subtler conflict for ever diminishing supplies until one day we run out and our civilization collapses. Mark Z. Jacobson and Mark A. DeLucci, however, disagree. They published their argument in the 2009 November issue of Scientific American, stating simply that it is possible to get all energy needed by human civilization from renewable energy sources and by the year 2030. The construction effort would not be cheap or easy. However, the two Marks argue, large infrastructure investments such as the interstate highway system have been both highly achievable and highly rewarding for the nations that did them. The Marks argue that, using our current projected development of energy sources, by the year 2030 we would normally be using nearly 17 terawatts, or billion watts, to power Earth's civilization. This, of course, would largely come from fossil fuels, although there would be a small amount of renewable and reliable energy in the mix. Renewable energy will come with its own savings. Electric cars get a lot more go out of a certain quantity of energy. Gasoline's only advantage, after all, is that it comes out of the ground and it's pretty cheap to move around. The obvious way to get electricity from the sun is through various forms of solar power. The Marks estimate there's about 580 terawatts worth of solar capacity possible on the Earth's surface, although it's not clear exactly where all of these big solar panel farms would get built. Wind power is also possible. Wind, of course, is generated by the Earth being heated by the sun. They estimate that there's about 40 to 75 terawatts of reasonably available wind power. Predictions are a little unreliable because the weather patterns do shift. Hydroelectric power also ultimately comes from the sun, which causes evaporation and in turn rainfall. However, hydroelectric has been pretty well exploited. Although there is some room for improvement, there is also the question of ecological balance. Nevertheless, the Marks figure there's about 2 terawatts we can get out of hydroelectric, much of which is already exploited. To put this in perspective, each dot in this display represents 1 terawatt. As you can see, the amount of energy that we would use under either a conventional development scheme or the ones proposed by the authors is dwarfed by the amount of potential energy accessible from the sun's bounty on the Earth's surface. The authors even omit forms of energy that we could use but which do not derive from the sun, such as nuclear fission, which comes from radioactive elements in the Earth's crust ultimately. It does have the advantage of being carbon-free, despite its political difficulties and the questions of waste disposal or reprocessing. There are also geothermal energy sources, although to be fair, geothermal is either present in a given area or it isn't. It can't be really constructed so much as worked around or contained. There are also political difficulties. Coal mining, for instance, is a long tradition in America, and many communities might not enjoy the idea of having wind, solar, and hydroelectric power make their professions and their communities obsolete. We can be sure that coal miners and coal companies and other people invested in the current state of affairs will make their voices heard in the halls of government, either in America or in foreign nations. Even the two Marks don't think their plan will be adopted exactly as they lay it out, figuring that instead, by 2050 or 2060, we'll have largely phased out fossil fuels. And the question could well be asked, what if, one day, those 580 terawatts of solar energy aren't enough to power our civilization? What will we do then, once we've developed all of the energy resources on Earth that we reasonably can? Well, there are a few ideas floating around, and many of them are likely to even work when they finally get tried. But these solutions don't need to trouble us for now. They are, for now, a story, and certainly a story for another time.